Hello and welcome to Pop of Passion. Join me, Jax Barker, comedian and highly sensitive person, along with a guest every other week as we delve into our deepest passions, from being a plant dad to conquering insecurity with comedy. If you relish the memory of an unexpected late-night conversation with a stranger about their obscure passion, the kind where you have tears in your eyes one second and are doubled over laughing the next, this is the podcast for you. Hello and welcome to Pop of Passion. I'm Jax Barker and I'm so glad you're here. My guest today was once sent a cease and desist from a real housewife. He is a content creator, editor, and producer, as well as the host of the podcast Legends Only. His work includes American Idol, The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, Watch What Happens Live, HBO, Saturday Night Live, YouTube Originals, Bravo, A&E Networks, and The X Factor. Please welcome T. Kyle.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
This is so cool. Like, I've been following you on Tumblr since I was in college, and now we're here. So it's such an honor to get to see you and speak to you.
Oh, thank you. I love that. I was just thinking about Tumblr a lot recently, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I feel like everything I see on TikTok, I'm like, I saw that on Tumblr 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think everyone on TikTok's doing great. I love it. But a lot of the things are regurgitated from Tumblr, I find.
Yeah, it's a different format, but
right.
A lot of the similar humor is there.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to kind of like put two and two together.
Right. So, T. Kyle, what is your passion?
So my passion is entertaining, which is kind of broad, but it's definitely what I feel is my passion.
Yeah. So have you always felt like an entertainer, or is it something that you grew into?
Yeah, so it's funny because I used to always want to be a weatherman, and I think that was the first time I saw someone on TV that was like, I just remember sitting at home and watching, just be the Weather Channel was always on at my parents' house. And I was like, oh, I want to be a weatherman, because you'd see them on TV and you knew who they were and you saw them every day. And it was like, that was your first celebrity, was like, who was the weatherman?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be a weatherman. And then when I went to school and obviously started watching other channels, I wanted to be a VJ on MTV. I was like, I want to be Suchin Pak. I want to be John Norris.
Yes.
Carson Daly, like all those icons from that time period. And then it just kind of, as social media hit, it just kind of molded into just different mediums and screens and forms and shapes and sizes and all of that.
Yeah, because I find like you are entertaining on so many different levels, like from reality TV gifs on Tumblr, and then the memes, and then the ASMR of the housewives, and your podcasts, multiple podcasts, and they're all different. And I'm just wondering, like, what inspires you to entertain? Is there a moment where you were like, oh, I think that's what I want to do aside from weathermen? Where you were like, oh, you kind of focused in on like pop culture is my thing.
Yeah. I don't know. It was sort of, definitely there's something that started around the time I started watching MTV as a kid. And it was like that combination of music and design and lights and live performances. And it was almost like that escape element of it, where I would be watching something and it takes you to that level of fantasy or imagination, or like you just get to escape the world for a brief second. And I think I found it in video games too. Like that was another thing. And so growing up, it was like, as like a young gay kid, it's like you're made fun of. So like I would go home and I'd watch TRL, and it was like, oh, for an hour, I would just like escape into the world of pop music and pop queens and music videos and entertainment and all of that. So as I got older, I was like, oh, and I crafted my own skills. I was like, oh, I can lend my skills to that and help provide that entertainment for other people. And I think that's the cool thing that I love about it, especially with my podcast recently with the pandemic, I've
Mhm.
noticed where people are like, I can put on your podcast and just laugh for an hour. And it's
Yeah,
like, it's stuff like that. It's like the escapist kind of part
right.
of it. And like the fantasy and the just fun, I guess, is kind of what attracts me to doing it.
That's so cool. And I love that it's like you're giving back because I'm sure you feel entertained by your creations, but you entertain the masses. I mean, I don't think a week goes by that I don't use one of your gifts on a tweet of like one of the housewives, because that's my go-to is I'm like, oh, okay, reaction gif, got to use a housewife's gif.
Hmm.
And if I go on Giphy, they're always yours
Yeah.
because you were like the headline and you were the end all be all of that genre, but now you've spun it out into so many different things.
Hmm.
So, what's like the next step? What do you think? Because I feel like you've been so successful. I'm just curious, how do you keep going? Because I feel like I would get burned out.
Well, it's funny you say that. Like I did get burned out recently.
Oh,
And so it's interesting because I've sort of, I've had so many experiences. And then in my most recent experience, it was like I almost like at full max blast kind of just time and creative pressure. And um, it was almost too far. And
yeah,
I hit a point where I realized I can't keep doing this or I will. I knew I was going to burn out.
right.
And so now that I'm out of that like experience, I'm now finding balance. And I think it was a good experience to have because, as a creative, you have to find balance and you have to have time where you disconnect. And like I do weird shit like I will wear earplugs in my own apartment and just cut off like all sensory things
Oh, yeah,
because it's it's like one of those things where I could hear a song and it'll trigger an idea or like my imagination will just start going off. And so I literally I literally shut off like sensory
yeah,
things. And I've really gotten into like meditation a lot in the past year and a half. And so yeah, it's definitely a new experience that I'm having and learning that's good that I think it's important to go through.
right. Because you have to like figure out a way to manage. I feel like creatives have so much energy going on in their head. And it's like you have to figure out a way to manage it in order to channel it.
Hmm.
Um, you're a big, like, you like to walk, right?
I do. I love
Yeah,
walking.
I started walking during the pandemic, but I feel like you were walking before because I've been following you for, as I said, like 10 years. And I just know in the past, like I don't even know how long, but you've been really into walking. And then recently you posted a really funny video about like some lady talking about eating a raccoon
Oh yeah, in the
on
park.
Instagram. What? Wait, I
Yeah.
need to know everything. Which park? Like what was going on?
So do you ever like walk by people in the city or like wherever and you just get like a tail end of conversation or
Yes.
something and it makes
Yeah.
the context of it can just go in any way.
Yeah.
So, well, I was just in the park and I've just kind of had conversations with random strangers throughout the past year. They'll be walking their dog, they'll stop, they'll be like, oh, hi, how are you? Like, isn't it such a nice day? Did you see this? Did you see that? Or they'll see me like feeding the birds and they'll tell me this whole story about like this or that. So people are
Right.
just chatty. And then the other day, yeah, I just was in the park and these three ladies were just, chatting, chatting, chatting. And as they go to pass me, they're like, did you hear about the woman who was eating the raccoon? And I was like, no, because I guess they thought that I may have seen it or heard it. And then I got a message from someone on Instagram who is also in New York and they were walking in the park and they were like, yeah, there was people like crowding around. I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, you have to be joking with me. I was like, you don't, this isn't real. Like that did not happen. And then I checked his Instagram, and sure enough, his stories were like in the park that day. And I was like, what?
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, isn't the craziest thing I've ever seen. So
Right. Well, it's like, I just think, you just were walking and you overheard something, and then you turned on your front facing camera and you entertained me all the way in Chicago. And it's like, that's what it is. Like, you're just an entertainer. Do you have any entertainment heroes? Like people you look up to or aspire to be like?
I do. I mean, I love RuPaul a
Yes.
lot. I think when I was younger, it was the first gay person I saw on TV that I remember.
Hmm.
And I just remember seeing like it was like MTV's Beach House, that era of
Yeah.
pop culture, and it was like seeing RuPaul on TV in a dress and heels. At the time, I didn't really know the whole like I didn't know about drag queens. I didn't know about the whole everything, but what I knew was like that was bold and
Right.
like brave to do on MTV. So I love RuPaul. Andy Cohen is also a huge inspiration for me because he also did something similar where he started as a producer and
Yeah.
he kind of went through and climbed the corporate world of, entertainment, doing kind of the busy work and the work behind the scenes and all of that, and then got his own show. um those two are like my standouts.
Right. Yeah, those are great standouts.
Hmm.
So can I ask, I think I know the answer, but which housewife sent you a cease and desist? Was it Luann?
Luann,
I knew
yeah.
it. Yeah. Oh my
But
God.
she on to I always tell everyone she had 100, she was 100% correct. And
Okay.
it was, she had a point. It was fair. What I was doing was technically illegal. So I always tell like these fan sites that do art and stuff and they sell merch. I'm like, you have to just know that there's like personality rights. And that was something that I
Yeah.
learned. And I was like, you can do quotes, but you can't put a quote with someone's face because then it's association and then it's personality rights. And I was like, oh,
Wow. Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. If you're about to make merch of
yeah,
Pop of Passion, please don't put my face with a quote. I
yeah,
will go after you. No, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't even know how, but that is so funny. Like, I just think your relationship with the Housewives, because you were doing reality TV gifts before you were working on Watch What Happens Live, right?
yep,
So that's so cool. Like you made the jump and then you were in the big leagues, like working with Andy and everyone.
yeah. It's what got me the job
Oh,
was
wow.
the website. And it's something that I always share with people because I started the website, I was anonymous, and then it took off because of Twitter. Like as Twitter, kind of in its glory days, in
Right.
my opinion, took off and really was the spot to chat live.
Yeah.
um they noticed it, and then a couple years went by, and then a job opening opened up, and they were like, oh, social media housewives, let's see what he's doing. Like, let me just send him an email and see what he's up to. So I always tell people, like, you never know. Like, it was like a 3.5 year gap
Right.
from the moment I met people at the show to starting my first day. So you never know when something will pop up, or yeah.
Yeah. That was so cool to see, like watching your journey from afar. And even I think in the past couple months, I've been watching Watch What Happens Live, and you're no longer there, but like Andy will tweet a couple days before, oh, ask your questions for these people. And then he'll call you by name and be like, oh, we got a question from T. Kyle. And he'll
Hmm.
ask the person on Watch What Happens Live. And I'm always like, yes. Because I feel like I have been on this journey with you, even though we've never met. It's just like so exciting to see you succeed.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, what are your like long-term goals for entertainment? Do you want to be on camera more, or do you like being behind the scenes? What are your goals?
It's interesting because I love both of it. Like I love both sides of it. And so what was cool is like at Watch What Happens Live, it's very I kind of call it like scrappy, which is probably, it sounds negative, but like to me, that's kind of like how I am. It's like
Yeah.
everyone wears five hats, right? So, I've literally been there days where like a cameraman has been sick and someone who is like never done a camera before goes in and sits and like holds the thing and makes sure that it doesn't fall. And so
Wow.
like I've painted props, I've sat with people, helped them do wigs. Like everyone kind of can have a hand in the production of how it happens. And to
Yeah.
me, it reminded me of theater because I used to do theater, but I was always backstage doing props and lights and sets and all that stuff. So there's something about being hands on that I love. And then I also saw the side of Tonight Show, which was, kind of honestly polar opposite of Watch What Happens Live. It's like the biggest you can go in late night, where it's, quadruple staff size and, it's unionized. You can't like I can't make props there. It's like very, very, very different, almost like kind of too far for me.
Yeah.
So having both experiences, I love almost like the middle ground of like still being able to have your hand in things and be fun and be a little scrappy and just pull out a green screen and it's like there's something
Yeah.
about that I love, and I
Yeah.
don't think I would have known that if I didn't have both experiences. So I don't know, somewhere in the middle. But yeah, I don't want to be in
Cool.
4K though. I have like this thing where I'm like, why did we have to go to 4K? Why are we going to 8K?
Right.
It's like, it just like, I like this, like the Zoom camera is
Yeah.
perfect. Just like, it's enough of like a sheen where I don't have to wear a mattifying powder.
Right. Let this is not going to come out for like a quite a while, but I noticed in this week's episode of Roni, like Heather Thompson was just very shiny. And I was like, I bet she's pissed because like camera, since she was on the show in season, 5 or whatever, like cameras have gotten better. Everyone looks
And makeup
different.
there,
Yes,
like,
makeup.
because of
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
I was shocked that the housewives had like, I call them MUAs, which is not the right word to say, but like,
Oh,
because it's
yeah.
like MUA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was, my friend's a makeup artist. She does Andy, and like, it's just their whole business was like completely flipped upside down last year.
Right.
So the safety protocols, and so I was shocked that they had
I know.
glam for
But
just dinner.
they were in like, I thought they were surgeons when they showed them. They were in masks and they were in like, I don't even know what they were wearing as clothes. Like
You have to cover the
smocks.
shoes, the
Yeah.
hands, the hair, like,
Right.
because that was, I mean, only a couple months after.
Right. That was like last fall.
hmm
I know. And here we are. It's been quite a year.
Yeah, say the least.
Definitely. So, I have a pop pondering for you. It's just a fun question that has the word pop in it. Um, Princesses of Power are Mattel toys, also known as pop. What was your most coveted childhood toy?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Most coveted. What does coveted means? Like,
Well, I guess like
wait,
it could be something
beloved.
you didn't have and you wanted, or it could be something you
Oh,
did have. You can answer however you choose.
hmm. Coveted. I mean, is there anything that I still have? I mean, I still have my Spice Girls CD. That's not a toy, but um, I also my N64 was kind of up there.
Yeah.
I think like gaming, like I remember having like getting my first Game Boy
Hmm.
was like something that I coveted and like took everywhere with me
Yes.
because it was like I remember my Game Boy, and then when I was able to buy myself my first iPod mini, that was also
Hmm.
like this coveted, like prized
Yeah.
thing. So probably something like that, like one of my gaming systems.
I had it was like a purple, but it was clear Game Boy.
Yes.
And I like lost it at a TGI Fridays. And we
Oh
never found
no.
it. And my mom was like, well, And I was like, ah. So I didn't ever get into gaming because it wasn't like I got another one because I lost it.
Hmm.
It's my fault.
There's a really good channel on YouTube that does, they restore old tech
Oh,
from
wow.
that era. So I'll like sit and just watch them fix a
Yeah.
PlayStation or a Game Boy. And it feels like my youth is being restored
Oh,
as
that's
they
so
fix
cool.
it.
Yeah. I would say my most coveted childhood toy is my Princess Diana Beanie Baby. I still have
Yes.
it. I moved it from my parents' house.
Do you have it
It's
in the case?
I don't think I have the like TY tag, heart
Hmm.
tag. So it's
You can
probably not
replace those
worth
though.
much. Okay.
I've
Good to
seen,
know.
I sometimes go down weird YouTube rabbit holes, but I've seen
Yeah.
people where and it's also on TikTok too. There's like people who clean old childhood stuffed animals. Have you seen that on TikTok at
No,
all?
I haven't.
Well, our phones are listening, so you'll probably get it
Of course,
when you
yeah.
log in. But there was someone that did a Beanie Baby, and then they made a new tag, and they just like pierced the little paw
Oh,
and made it like a
wow.
new. It's like, oh, there's a talk for everyone.
Yeah, people are so creative. It's amazing. So I'm just wondering, I wasn't going to ask this, but like when you were younger, you wanted to be a weatherman, you wanted to be a VJ. That was like childhood. What were you thinking when you were in high school? What was your job plans?
More in like the graphic design world was my plan, and like my big dream was I wanted to art direct a tour for a pop star was like my big dream. And then when I went to college, a lot of my projects would do that. I remember we had this like flash animation class, and I like animated billboards for the circus tour and like all this stuff. And most of my professors did not take me seriously, which
Ah,
clown emojis at them
yeah,
now.
right?
But I wanted to do design with being like a queen of pop. So like doing an album art, because
Yeah,
I collect album art, and I would like always, look at logos and fonts and how they would design their name. And that was kind of, which I still kind of want to do, but
yeah.
that was like my high school passion dream.
I could still see you doing that. I mean, I don't see why not. Like you have the background to do all of it.
Yeah. And it's now like, now that everything's digital, it's different, but it's also, I find the whole vinyl resurgence is so
Yeah.
fascinating to me because people want that like physical
Yep.
artwork, but the vinyl is so dated and
Yeah.
isn't what we use. So it's this kind of like funny cycle that I see happening.
Right. I have so many vinyls and I don't ever listen to them, but I like that I have them.
Hmm. I don't think
And
people will ever lose that desire to have like a tangible
right.
book or
Yeah.
photo.
Yeah. I had to get the Chromatica thong.
Did it ever ship?
Okay, it was supposed to come in May. It didn't come till like last year in like August. I was so mad. And now this tour has been postponed twice. Now it's next summer. I'm like, ugh, it's
Yeah.
nuts. But c'est la vie. Speaking of pop queens, were you into Bewitched at all? I know they were only like a one hit
Oh,
wonder.
of course I
Yeah,
was. That album is so good.
it is. And I'm like, I come from a big Irish family, so um we were really into Bewitched and we met them at Walmart, me and my cousins. It was nuts. It's just funny, like now on Danny Pellegrino's podcast, he's been playing the clip "C'est la vie" recently, and I guess people get mad at him because it's like he plays it too much, but I laugh every time.
You can never play that song enough.
No, that's like an iconic song. Yeah, it's great. So I would love to know what your passion plug is or what your passion plugs are um, to lead us on our way. So you can plug anything you want the listeners to know about. It can be a passion project, a charity organization, whatever you want.
Oh, so I have Well, I have two. So my
Yeah, that's
personal
great.
ones is my podcast is called Legends Only, and then we also have, if you're a fan of Britney Spears, but even if you're not, I do think I found that, which has kind of been surprising, that people who don't follow with her have actually enjoyed it too. My other podcast called It's Britney Bitch, which is a series where we just go through her entire career.
Yeah.
But then in like real life, well, I mean, it's both real life, but I really love the company For Ocean, which is it's a nonprofit because I've really been like loving nature lately over like the past year. I
Yeah.
kind of like show a little bit of it, but I hide most of it because I'm like it's so random. But
Yeah.
I love what they do and like their mission statement and what they're doing to like clean plastic out of the ocean, and it's just cool and
Yeah.
innovative and
Amazing. I will link to that. I will link to both in the show notes.
not
And
sponsored, but Save the Turtles. It's
oh my
kind of
gosh,
like
yes. Save the turtles. So, T. Kyle, thank you so much for sharing your passion and being on Pop of Passion. I would like to thank everyone for listening to Pop of Passion, produced by Christine Ferrera. Please follow the show on social media at Pop of Passion and at popofpassionpodcast.com. I'm Jax Barker. Go out and be the light, living your passion.